All right, welcome to another ICS Defense Force. My name is Dean Parsons, certified SANS instructor for ICS 515 and 418. Today, we're going to continue our conversation about industrial control system incident response. Today is on evidence acquisition. As usual, anything in this program we talk about covers anything from protecting cookie factories to critical infrastructure. It's applicable to all of these sectors. So let's jump in. Last time we talked about the planning phase of incident response and also detection and identification of threats in control system environments. And today is all about the evidence acquisition, which is really having the ability to fight through an attack in control environments while there's an incident, but also maintaining safety. During that phase, we're also going to be acquiring key evidence, information from critical ICS assets to do timely forensics analysis. This will help pivot us through the entire next section and so on for industrial control system incident response. So some of the questions I will raise today is, do you rely on teams at remote sites in your facilities to help with data acquisition? We do see folks like engineering staff, plant operators in some of those remote sites, perhaps not where your ICS security team is. And in cases, we do see some of those teams help with the data acquisition part of incident response, collecting that evidence and key data using tools that are pre-positioned to help your team analyze that data once you arrive on site. So there are a number of tools out there you can look for and apply to your control systems. There's several, and the objective is really to focus on these as a suggestion to test in your environment, but ultimately you're going to focus on something that works for your environment, that you've tested, that's safe, and you continue to deploy that tool. Now, these tools have multi-purposes. They can acquire things like hard drive data acquisition and also data memory. Now, we are going to suggest you're going to gravitate towards prioritizing capturing memory. It is something that's volatile in the environment, but also contains information about processes which could only live in memory, information about the network connections which could be malicious, and so on and so forth. So again, you could use some of these tools like FTK, Memorize, DD, Redline, and so on and so forth. Again, as long as you have the capability to do memory acquisition, you're off to a great start when we talk about data, getting data from the environment. Now, there are some tools out there that can fit on something like an approved USB kit as well. An approved USB kit, like you see here, can really be a lifesaver. An ICS cyber safety USB kit. Do you have one of these today? And this is the tool you can use, create, and deploy in your environment, pre-positioning them in key locations of your facility, at your critical sites at least. And then that way, operators at site or even your team, when they get there, have the ability to quickly get that data for you for the next phase of incident response. Now, on this USB kit, and you can use different types of tools here, is really a collection script that allows you to download the memory from the system into the USB, and that USB can then take it off the system for analysis in an offline environment. Where can these USBs be pre-positioned and ready for data acquisition in your environment, you're asking? Well, of course, we covered this before, but it's great to have this aligned with your critical assets. So having one or two or three specifically set aside and physically located near your data historians is a great pre-positioning idea. Also around your, not just your data historians, but also your human machine interfaces as well. Any of these devices so far are Windows OT assets, of course, and also around your engineering workstation. So again, having a collection script on a USB or something similar allows you to be prepared for data acquisition at a moment's notice. This, of course, can be in a situation where your team is unable to get to a remote site, and engineering staff can use this safety kit on site, plug it in, follow your instructions, or pre-positioned and planned instructions to gather data from these critical assets, which are running traditional operating systems, still a Windows OT asset. Now you're thinking, beyond Windows, where else do I collect information from an OT environment? Of course, we're not going to exclude the critical assets, which are engineering assets for the program, which are some of the programmable logic controllers. Now, the programmable logic controllers will not be able to utilize these USB drives or safety kits to acquire its memory. Instead, we're going to do simple things, at least to start us off for data acquisition, on getting the hash of the project file already located inside the controller, and then comparing that hash with a known good hash you might have already backed up in another location. Then comparing what's in production and the hash of what you have in a known good location, you can quickly determine if there was a change in the controller, if there was additional acquisition may be required, if there's an unauthorized change in there, specifically acquiring the ladder logic here to understand if there's any malicious activity in the lowest level of the control environment. At that point, if you do acquire the programmable logic controller project files, you will have to have skills to go through that using engineering kind of methodologies and so on and so forth. Either way, a great resource for gathering data in the evidence acquisition phase. Now, beyond collecting the Windows environment data from historians, HMI, and engineering workstations, and even some of the basic information from PLCs, we cannot ignore things like application level logs, application level changes. Specifically, we're talking about the historian here, where we're not specifically getting memory from the system, but we're looking at application information, such as the trending and analysis information recorded in your data historian. This can indicate a malicious activity where you see drops or valleys or spikes in some of the data for your control system. So to finish off this ICS Defense Force for today, again, focus on the pre-positioning of these tools, prioritizing memory in the environment, and helping answer these questions for your control system security program. The tools that we've talked about, do you have some of these selected, or other tools? Are they safe to use in your environment, already tested and pre-positioned around those critical assets we talked about? But what about the skill sets required? When this evidence is acquired, you're going to have some knowledge and personnel to sift through that data looking for malicious activity, primarily focusing, I guess, on memory. These resources can be external to your organization and also internal to your organization, or a mixture of both. Again, the whole objective here is when there's an incident in your plant, is it approach of shut the plant down, or is it fight through the attack while we're continuing to have operations up and running and safety being maintained at all times? So there you have it. Those are some of the key questions for today's conversation in this ICS Defense Force. My name is Dean Parsons, and I do want to hear from you. Any questions you have on this content, I will be addressing in the comments section. So please pop those in there, and it won't be long getting back to you on these. For next time, we are going to be talking about leveraging what we've learned in data acquisition and looking at time critical analysis. All right, until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy.